I've interviewed so many doctors and experts for the documentary. We have 9 of them. Each of them are so fired up and passionate about their own specialty. But when you get to the root of each of their passions, it's the exact same thing. You fix your metabolic health. That's what they're all preaching. So it's like, you fix this one thing because you have type 2 diabetes, and you fix your mental health, you fix your heart health, you fix all of these other things. So it's so much more simpler than I would have thought. Like, it's just treat the root cause. It seems like it's something a kindergartner could wrap their brains around, but I'm not judging anyone because I never understood it. I was on so much medication and foolishly just kept believing I needed more and more of it.
Welcome back to Meat Matters. Today, I'm joined by someone whose story perfectly captures what the carnivore movement is all about. Taking ownership of your health and completely changing your life using real food. Kerry Mann is the director of the Healing Humanity documentary, and his results on carnivore are nothing short of remarkable. His most recent heart scan actually shows documented reversal of heart disease, something most people are told isn't even possible. We're going to talk about how Kerry first discovered carnivore, what changes he's seen since he made the switch, dive into those amazing heart scan results, and hear what it's been like putting together the Healing Humanity film, which is going to inspire so many people to rethink what they thought they knew about nutrition. If you get value from these chats, take a second to subscribe. It really helps the show grow and allows me to keep bringing on these expert guests. And with that, let's dive into this conversation with Kerry Mann. Kerry, welcome to Meat Matters. I'm just so excited to have you here and share your amazing story with everybody.
It's an honor to be on with you. Thank you for having me.
So, Kerry, let's just start from the very beginning. How did you first discover the carnivore diet, and what drew you to try it in the first place?
Yeah, I first discovered the carnivore diet through an individual story on YouTube, and it was Dante from Frigno Freedom. And I was suffering for so long, for so many years. I had many, many health issues. I was 100 pounds overweight. Depression, anxiety were my big issues, but also had congestive heart failure, TIA, mini stroke, many, many things. And I had some good success with keto many years ago, but I could never maintain it. I would just binge and yo-yo back and forth. And yeah, I saw Dante Ferrigno's video on YouTube, and he looked like a completely new person, and he was speaking my words, my language. Like, he had so many of the health issues that I had, and he overcame them. And I'm like, this is crazy. How can you just eat meat? It's nuts. But I understood the science of it from doing keto before. I'm like, it should work, but I don't know how anyone can do this. And I have congestive heart failure. I can't do it. And long story short, I then watched a whole bunch of Dr. Berry videos. I thought he was a scam artist. I thought he was selling something. I was trying to get to the bottom of it. Yeah, right? I'm like, this guy's saying you can eat bacon? Like, what is this? Is a doctor? This is crazy. I'm like, where is the $10,000 program I have to pay for? And I never found it. And the last video I watched of Dr. Berry's before starting carnivore, and this was almost 1,000 days ago that this happened, was on reversing type 2 diabetes. And that was one thing. I think I was pre-diabetic. I was diagnosed with everything else, but never diabetes. But in my brain, I'm like, you can't reverse type 2 diabetes. I've got a lot of family members suffering from it for years and years. And they were told, this is genetic. You're a fluke. You're just going to have it forever. And then I read the comments on that video because I didn't believe Dr. Berry. But then when I read those comments, there were 2,000 of them. And the first one was, Dr. Berry, you saved my life. And my A1C went from this to this. And 10 years of going to my family medicine doctor, I learned more from watching a 10-minute Dr. Berry video. It was like the third comment. And I'm like, this is real. This is crazy. And then I decided to start from there.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're giving me goosebumps. It's so funny that the conventional medicine just hasn't caught up to this, but I'm not surprised, honestly. I thought that type 2 diabetes was just chronic and that was just something that you had for the rest of your life. But in fact, that is not true. You can put it into remission. Have you pre-ordered my new book, Complete Carnivore, yet? It's the ultimate guide to the carnivore diet. Part science, part practical guide, and packed with 80 delicious, zero guesswork recipes. There's a full starter guide chapter, a troubleshooting chapter, FAQ chapter, and an entire chapter on monitoring your progress. This book has everything you need to succeed long-term on carnivore. And here's the best part. When you pre-order this book before November 3rd at 11:59 p.m., you are eligible to download a free bonus PDF. It's a 17-page resource that has 2 exclusive recipes that are not in the book, a complete blood work guide, supplement guide, troubleshooting guide, and so much more. And this is only available for people that pre-order the book. If you haven't pre-ordered the book yet, I put those links in the show notes. If you have pre-ordered, grab your receipt and head to the link in the show notes to claim your free bonus. So your health was terrible before you started carnivore. You got started. What were the first few weeks of carnivore like for you?
Amazing and incredible. And with a full disclaimer that it doesn't happen this good for everybody. I feel a little guilty about it sometimes, but it happened so quick for me. The first thing was I stopped snoring right away on carnivore. And I was on a CPAP machine. I've gone in for multiple sleep studies. I used to have to wear this mask. I hated that thing so much. And I stopped snoring. I'm like, this is crazy. My wife told me, she's like, you didn't snore last night for the first time. This was like a contentious thing because I was keeping her awake all the time. Or she thought I was dying because I'd stop breathing over and over again. She's like, are you still alive? So that happened quickly. And 3 weeks into carnivore, I just had this whoa moment. I don't know how better to describe it. My depression and anxiety, which was the worst issue for me. I was on every SSRI antidepressant for years and years. It didn't go away at 3 weeks, but I had a noticeable improvement in my mood. And then my stomach started feeling better in the first couple of weeks, where I remember saying to my wife, Jen, I'm like, I don't feel my stomach anymore. This is crazy. My whole life, it's been bloated and heavy, and it just felt like it was gone, like there was nothing there. So I had a lot of results really quickly. And shortly after that, I think it was about 60 days into carnivore was when my depression was really like gone. And that was the most incredible thing for me because I tried all of the standard of care, all of the medications. I listened to exactly what all the doctors told me. And at one point I was on 15 different medications for depression, anxiety, my congestive heart failure, blood pressure. I was on statins for 8 years in my 30s, which was the most foolish thing I've ever done in my entire life. And so, yeah, I found healing really quickly on carnivore. I have a YouTube channel, Homestead How, where we talk about goats and chickens and like homesteading. And I'm like, I'm going to do one video on this carnivore thing because this is life-changing. This is crazy to me. And that's going to be it. And I did that video and it just kind of blew up. And more importantly than it blowing up and like, oh, I got a bunch of traffic from it was just the stories. The comments that came out of it were incredible. Other people. I remember one of the first comments I got was from someone in their 80s. And they're like, I've been eating carnivore for like 4 or 5 years and they healed their depression, anxiety, and all these other things. And it just blew my mind because when I started carnivore, I was like, oh, cool. This is a way I can drop some weight effectively. This is a weight loss regimen. In my brain, I was equating this to Weight Watchers or calorie counting or all those other diets in the past. And then after doing it for a while, I started realizing this is healing. This is like you fix your metabolic health, your weight will go to wherever it naturally should be as a side effect. But it's not like, this isn't like a regimen to lose weight, which is what I thought going into it. So that really sort of blew my mind also.
That's amazing. Yeah. I also came to it thinking, just weight loss, but I suffered from mental health issues as well. And that it was amazing how quickly they improved. Like it was anxiety for me was my big vice for decades. And yeah, I'm never anxious anymore. And that improved within the next, the first month or two. It was insane. Totally insane. So I remember early on, because you and I have been carnivore for a similar-ish amount of time. December 22nd, 2022, or December 27th, 2022 is when I started. When did you start?
I'm so bad with dates. I always keep it right here on my thing. I think, oh, here it is. I started March 20th, 2023, 939 days.
Okay, cool. So we're within 3 months of each other. So I remember watching some of your early carnivore diet videos on your channel. And I'm like, who is this guy? Because you were so enthusiastic and just kind of like mind blown that you weren't suffering anymore. And it was kind of a joy to watch, like I can do this and blah. And it was awesome. And I'm really glad that you continued creating carnivore content because sometimes people just create, a one-off video and then they don't continue on. But that's awesome. So now your channel is mostly carnivore content. I know you do still do a little bit of homestead stuff, right?
A little bit, but yeah, it's pretty much all just carnivore content. You know, I'll do a carnivore video and then I start hearing these stories of people like healing, or I saw your 30-day video and I'm healed from depression now. And I'm like, that is so powerful. And then I do a video about our chickens and I get crickets. So it's
Yeah.
like, I've been doing a lot more on the carnivore stuff, just because it seems more meaningful to me for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Well, keep doing it because they're great videos. So I want to dive into your heart health a little bit because you've been having some really interesting videos on your channel related to your CAC scan results, but also you did one where you did an AI recreation of what your heart used to sound like. I want to dive into all of that stuff. So with your recent CAC scan results, can you walk us through what the scan showed and what improvements you saw, or just any of that kind of stuff? Because you had congestive heart failure. You did statins for 8 years in your 30s. Conventional medicine will tell us that you should be dead by now, honestly. So how are you here, Kerry?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I did my CAC scan, which, by the way, I just want to say real quick for anyone watching, because I think this is valuable information that I wish I knew before I went on 8 years of statins. When I went on those statins, I was told the science is settled. Like, do these statins. I have since learned it's one of the biggest scams of all time. 1 in 100 people see a benefit from statins. 99 out of 100.
Benefit.
A tiny benefit. Yeah, if anything. 99 out of 100 see nothing. Like, people really need to wrap their brains around that. They never told me that. The advertising around statins is so misleading. There's absolute values versus relative. So they'll say, 2 out of 100 people would have had a heart attack if not for statins. 1 out of 100 do with statins. Therefore, it's a 50% reduction in heart attacks. It's so misleading. That's what I thought going into it. And they have commercials on TVs and the doctors, 50% reduction in heart attacks. No, it's one out of 100 people. And those numbers are crazy if you really think about it too. Like, you go to the gas station and get a scratch off lottery ticket. Those odds are 1 in 8, and that's horrible. You go to play roulette at the casino and it's not even 50-50. This is a 1 in 100. It's nuts. But, sorry, I wish I would have known about getting a CAC scan. So I've been filming this documentary. I've been interviewing all the good doctors. And when I interviewed Dr. Ovadia, he's the one that's been recommending getting a CAC scan. In my head, I'm like, this is going to cost $10,000. I'm going to have to go to my cardiologist. I'm going to have to get a referral. And long story short, this cost me $50. I Googled CAC scan near me. I found a place 40 minutes away, $50. I went in, no doctor's orders. And it was literally like a 5-minute procedure. It took longer to do the paperwork in the beginning. And then I got the results back. So my results were a big fat 0.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I talked to Dr. Ovadia after that, and I've done some more research. And he's like, we can't say this. There's no absolutes. But when you have a 0 CAC scan, it's pretty much like a 15-year warranty that you're not going to have a heart attack. And those statins, by the way, that I took for 8 years, I had all sorts of side effects that I never knew because I was on so much medication, as I mentioned earlier. But brain fog, muscle aches, memory loss are 3 symptoms of statins. And I had all of those on those statins. And who knows what other long-term consequences there were from taking those. So it just drives me nuts. But yeah, my heart is completely, not only is my CAC scan 0. The other crazy thing is, so after 1 year on carnivore, I went back into the doctor for the first time. And it was the first time in my life I didn't have to go to the doctor for any reason whatsoever. I was perfectly healthy. I'm like, I just want to prove something. I feel so much better. I had congestive heart failure before. My ejection fraction was 44. Jenny, I'm like, I would stand up before out of this chair and I'd get dizzy. I'd have to grab the desk. For years, it was like that. My wife would hold my arm because I was always ready to, I fell over once with a chainsaw in my hand, cutting down firewood, and she had to call an ambulance because she couldn't wake me up. My heart just couldn't keep up with my needs in my body. But 1 year into carnivore, I felt incredible. I'm running, I'm jogging, I'm exercising. I'm like, I feel like this is gone. And when they told me I had congestive heart failure, they said, this is chronic and you're going to have it the rest of your life and it's never going to get better. They told me that. They said, you may be able to keep it the same, but it's not going to get better. So I'm like, I'm stuck with this heart failure like I'm going to die. So long story short, 1 year into carnivore, I went in to get a heart echo. They tested my heart. My congestive heart failure completely reversed. My ejection fraction went from 44 to 60, 65. It was perfectly normal afterwards. And then the craziest thing is I have had a lifelong irregular heartbeat since birth. I was born with it. I don't even understand like how this happens, but after 1 year on carnivore, when I went into the cardiologist, he's like, your heart's perfectly normal. I've since had it tested 4 times since then. My heartbeat is perfectly normal for the first time in my life on carnivore. And so, yeah, I did a video where I did kind of the recreation before because it wasn't just erratic. Like there was a murmur and many extra heartbeats and tachycardia, like rapid heartbeat. And now it's just like, it's a perfect analogy for my overall health. Like the heart was just erratic and sick before. And now it's just like zen, just perfect. It's crazy.
Yeah, I watched that video. My husband and I watched that video, and man, your heart sounded like crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was horrible. I'm like, what is going on? And it's just amazing that within a year, it's basically like that never happened.
It's crazy. It not only did it never happen, like if I went to, I'd gone to the cardiologist, he wrote in my paperwork, you have no evidence of cardiomyopathy. If I went to just any random set of cardiologists, they would never even be able to detect that I previously had congestive heart failure. There's like no sign of it. My heart looks just completely normal. The crazy thing is I did that video and I've had so many other people with similar reports. And I know this is not science, they're anecdotes, but so many people saying, I had AFib before, I had an irregular heartbeat before, I had congestive heart failure before and I've reversed it. I get comments every day like this over and over and over again. And it's a weird thing because the majority of people diagnosed with congestive heart failure are not going to eat only meat. They're going to do the opposite because that's what we've been told and led to believe this whole time. And, yeah, there's a lot of people finding healing doing this.
What did your doctor say when you've basically reversed congestive heart failure?
Makes me so mad. This is what he said, Jenny. Interesting.
That's it?
He said it 3 times. And then I told him, I'm like, I'm off all of that medication I was on for depression, heart disease, I'm off all of it. Interesting. I'm down 100 pounds since my heaviest. Interesting. He said, I'm like, I wanted to punch him. Like, on one hand, I'm like, I don't really care because I'm a grown man and like move on. But what really makes me mad is there's so many other people like me that are hopeless and sick and suffering. And they're going to go see that guy and he's going to bring out the prescription pad and he's going to ignore everything I just told him.
Yeah. Ugh, how frustrating. Just curiosity, what is your LDL currently?
I'd have to, I'm so bad. I'm so bad with numbers. But let me look here. If you don't mind just a second.
Not at all. Well, the reason I ask while you're looking it up is because, Goran has a cardiologist, and we went in, I was just asking random questions just to kind of see where he's at. And he was saying that for optimal heart health, you need to have your LDL cholesterol at about a 60 to 70, which is very, very, very low.
Right.
And Goran and I just kind of looked at each other and chuckled. I just kind of like to get a gauge of the doctor's, views on things, because that's obviously ridiculous.
Right. My last LDL was 161.
Okay. So they would consider that high. Honestly, that's not that bad. But so anybody out there listening, carry, LDL cholesterol of in the 160s and higher, yet congestive heart failure, gone.
Yeah.
Totally.
And my triglycerides were 57.
Yeah. When I'm looking at a lipid panel, I look at triglycerides and HDL. Honestly, that's the most important part. So a lot of people, that aren't in our space, that are just kind of maybe looking in and maybe researching carnivore, they worry about red meat and heart health. So what would you say to those people that are still skeptical?
I would say do some more research. And I would say we have been so misled on red meat causing heart disease. Dr. Ovadia is a great resource for that. What I learned from him is that most heart disease is caused from inflammation and insulin resistance. And I had that big time before starting carnivore from the foods I was eating. I was chronically and systemically inflamed. It damaged my blood vessels. The cholesterol goes there to repair it, and then it gets the blame. It's crazy, and it's completely backwards. And the other thing I would tell people that are concerned about this is there are about 11 other things you could be looking at beyond your cholesterol numbers as indicators for heart disease. For example, if you have type 2 diabetes, I think you're 11 times more likely to have heart disease than if you have elevated LDL. And people don't even worry about that. Poor metabolic health, insulin resistance, inflammation. There's so many other factors that are much more indicative of having future heart disease. And they get completely ignored because we're so brainwashed to believe that meat's going to clog our arteries and give us a heart attack.
I would say to anybody out there, give the carnivore diet 90 days, and if it doesn't work for you, then at least then you'll know. But
Yes.
for you saw a vast majority of your improvements within the first 90 days, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Even sooner than that. I totally agree with that. Just try it. And I always tell people, imagine you don't try it. Imagine you keep doing what you're doing. If you're thinking about doing carnivore and you're scared of it, you should really be scared about whatever got you to the point that you're thinking about carnivore. And what are you going to do if you continue doing whatever you were doing before for the next 5 years? I don't even think I'd be around if I did another 5 years of what I was doing prior to carnivore.
How were you eating before carnivore?
So here's the thing that drives me insane, Jenny, because people are like, Kerry, you just healed because you got rid of the junk food. If you just went vegan, vegetarian, you would have done the same thing. I ate a lot of bad food, good food, yo-yo, tried everything. I did keto for years, and I had a stretch before going carnivore of 1 year, strict keto, clean, super clean. I had a salad for lunch, salad for dinner, and then I have a little bit of chicken breast because I was going to clog my arteries with the red meat. Like, I believed all of that stuff back then. I still had horrible depression, anxiety. I had IBS. I had stomach issues, congestive heart failure, fatigue, all of those things. So when people tell me it's just the absence of junk food is the reason I'm healing, it's not true. It is also the addition of fatty meat. Our brains are made of fat. Our hormones need the fat. And if you look at even like India, right? Like they eat tons of vegetarians over there. They have an epidemic of depression and fertility issues. All of those are related to hormones. And I think a lot of that is just related to the fact that meat's been demonized for so long. We're deficient. I feel like when I started eating the fatty meat, like my body was, yes, finally, this is what we needed. Like this is what was missing the whole time. So it's more than just the absence of junk food. It's kind of condescending because there's a lot of experts out there like, yeah, just eat more plants. Like, yeah, like people don't realize that. We've been given the same advice for decades. People are doing it. They're eating more plants. They're doing this and they're not getting better. There has to be a point where you take a step back and say, this is not working. And it's clearly not.
Well, that's the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. I too did the same thing. Like before I started carnivore, I was eating healthy. I was eating lean proteins, fruits and vegetables. I was not eating junk food. I was not eating anything bad. And I still was not losing weight. And my fasting glucose was in the low 100s. And I didn't really test anything else besides that. Just because the doctors don't do that. You're healthy. You're fine. Well, then why am I not losing weight? Why do I have anxiety attacks every day? And what's going on? So yeah, I feel you on that. I want to transition over to your documentary, Healing Humanity. Cause you've been working on it for a while now, like 2 years, a year? How long?
2 years. Yeah.
2 years. So how did this documentary come to be? How did you get the idea to do this?
I got crazy carnivore energy and I'm foolish. Let's go. Let's do a documentary. How hard could that be? No, you know what it was, Jenny? I mentioned I did keto before. I learned about keto through a documentary on Netflix called Fathead.
Oh, okay.
This came out a long time ago. And the guy that did it was like a stand-up comedian. He'd never done documentaries. He filmed it on like a camcorder, but it was powerful. And it was like the stories. That's what matters. So that was my idea. I'm like, there's so many good resources out there for keto, but I don't see anything on carnivore. We need a carnivore diet documentary. And my daughter Emma found healing with me as well. We have triplets plus one, and my daughter Emma was vegan for many years. She went carnivore shortly after I did from vegan, and it just completely changed her life. And she's really passionate and compassionate for animals. And so she made this shirt. I kept saying, you're the compassionate carnivore. She's like, I'm only going to eat meat if I know where it comes from. We get a lot of meat from our neighbor. He's a 6th-generation farmer. She doesn't want to get stuff if the animal's been treated inhumanely. And we had this shirt called Compassionate Carnivore. And she's like, oh, we could sell these. And I'm like, I feel kind of dirty selling those and making money. Not that I'm like patting myself on the back, but I feel like I was so sick for so long just because of greed run amok, sold on medication and junk food and just greed run amok. So I said, well, why don't we sell the shirt? We can make a documentary. And in my head, it was just going to be this small thing. Well, long story short, it's turned into a much larger thing. I started gathering these stories. I'm like, these are incredible. Like some of these stories are just, I could never even wrap my brain around. People need to know about this. And we're like, we get one shot at this. We want to reach millions of people. You don't make any money on documentaries. That was never the intention. We're lucky if we're not going to go bankrupt by the time we're done with this thing. The goal is to reach as many people as we can. So we're like, we got to get Netflix approved cameras. We want to be able to get on a big streaming service to reach millions of people. So, and then the community came out and people have volunteered. Really talented people have joined me in doing this. So the whole premise of the documentary was to follow real people over the course of a year. And that's what we've done. And so it's been about 2 years. And a lot of people are like, why is this taking so long? It's because we're following people over the course of a year. It takes a year for each person. So we filmed Bill Knott on day one, and then we went back a year later and we filmed a couple other people that way. And then there's a bunch of people we filmed. So we've filmed 60 interviews all over the world, Canada, Australia, all over the United States, the UK. We're completely done filming now. Dr. Sean Baker was our last interview, number 60. We're editing now, and we're finishing it up through the end of the year, and we hope to have it ready early next year.
Awesome. And then from there, it'll be finding a streaming deal and getting it out to the world, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We're talking to a couple of distribution companies, and, we've actually consulted with a major film company, and we're so far along, and we've got an amazing audience and momentum behind us. So the plan is to finish the documentary first and then submit it to film festivals and then get it out there. It's going to be a hybrid release. The goal is to get, like I said, reach as many people as possible. So at some point, I suspect it'll just be out there on YouTube for everybody to see, but we're hoping to get it in the theaters first and then on one of the big streaming services.
So cool. Well, I mean, we've been all watching along as you film this and basically, learn from scratch how to put together a documentary. Who was your very first interview?
Yeah, the very first one was Bill Knott in Alaska, and he's become my best friend. Like my whole family and I just traveled to Alaska to visit him. We're done filming for the documentary. We just went there because we're friends with him. But it was crazy too, because when we went to film Bill, it was very expensive. We did a 24-hour carnivore live stream to raise the funds to do it. And my daughter Emma went with me, the one that was formerly vegan. And she was actually the first cinematographer #1, I called her. She filmed the whole thing. This was before my friend Adam came on, who's a very talented cinematographer, and he's filmed everything since then. But yeah, we went out, and it was crazy, Jenny, because we flew there, and then I'm driving there with my teenage daughter, who at the time she was 17. I'm like, this is bad parenting. What are we doing? We're driving in the woods in the middle of Alaska to meet some dude I met on the internet, like in the middle of nowhere. But we fell in love with Bill. He's incredible. 700 pounds, stuck in his house for 4 years, horribly depressed, wanted to do carnivore to heal himself. And we filmed him day one, and then we went back 1 year later. Got to witness him going out in the beauty of Alaska, hands up in the air, tears coming down. It was just the most beautiful thing. And he's down almost just shy of 350 pounds right now, half the man he used to be. But more important than that, and more impactful, I think, than that is if you ask him, like, yeah, the weight's great, but he's more excited that he overcame horrible depression that he suffered with for decades and quickly on carnivore. I remember when he called me up one day and he's like, I just feel so good right now. He called me up crying one time too. He's like, I have no pain in my back or knees anymore. And this was a couple of weeks into carnivore. He's like, how can it happen so quickly? I barely lost any weight yet. I'm like, it's because you got rid of all that inflammation. It's just gone. That's what happens so quickly. So
amazing. How did you find him?
He found me, and we could do a whole documentary on how he found me. He saw my YouTube video. He left me a comment, and it was an essay, and it made me cry reading his comment, because he's like, I'm going to die. If I don't do anything, I'm seeing it in my dreams. I'm 700 pounds. I haven't left my house in 5 years. I'm going to die if I don't do anything. But then he was like, but maybe if maybe I could do a YouTube channel and share my story, and then maybe I'd make a little bit of money and be able to afford meat. That was his big issue. He's unemployed in Alaska. Meat's incredibly expensive in Alaska. So I commented back on his comment on my YouTube video, and I'm like, yes, you could do all of that. I'll help you. And I said, we could maybe do like a GoFundMe and raise some money just so you could have meat for 30 days. I'm like, even if that fails, I don't have a lot of money myself, but I will scratch together the money so that you can at least try this for 30 days, whatever you need to do. That's how it all started. The crazy thing was I commented back to him and he never saw it. And like weeks went by and I'm like, oh my God, did he die? What happened? So long story short, I did a YouTube video and a thumbnail. And I said, attention, 700-pound Bill in Alaska. And the thumbnail was just some random guy with his face blurred out. It said Bill in Alaska. And that's how he found me. He didn't see the comment. He saw that video. And he was actually, when I interviewed him for the documentary, he was like, yeah, Kerry, I was watching that and I'm so dumb. I'm like, I thought it was some other dude in Alaska. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this me? This is crazy. And he called me that night after I posted that video. And yeah, the rest is history.
That's an amazing story. Thinking of all the interviews you've done 60. Can you does another person come to mind when you're thinking of like an amazing transformation that you've filmed?
Yeah. The most amazing transformation was probably Limitless Lindy in Australia. She lost 500 pounds on carnivore. Overcame depression also, which was more impactful. The craziest interview, though, out of all of them, was rancher Maggie. Maggie is 83 years old. I think she's 84 now. She's been eating a carnivore diet for 65 years. And Adam and I went and filmed her. We spent a week filming her. One of the most incredible people I've ever met. Never had, the only person out of 60 that we've interviewed, nothing wrong with her ever. Like never had, and she doesn't get sick, full blonde hair in her 80s, just ripped with like triple muscles. She's just jumping over fences and she put me and Adam to shame. We could not keep up with her. We're trying to run around with her cameras, keeping up with her and just absolutely thriving on carnivore. And not only that too, but I can't wait for people to see her in the documentary because you see the muscles and you see the visual, but her demeanor, she has the energy of like a teenager. It's just crazy. But the wisdom of an 83-year-old. She's like the smartest, wisest person I've ever met, but just full of energy like a teenager. She's just the coolest person. She's become a really good friend.
That's amazing. We could hope that we end up like her when
I said, Maggie, we got to make a shirt. I want to be like Maggie when I grow up.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So I'm really looking forward to this documentary. Again, we've been watching you film it and all this stuff, so I really can't wait for it to come out. So we're going to mark our calendars as soon as we know. So just more broadly, how, if at all, has your understanding of health evolved since starting carnivore? I know it's definitely evolved. How has it evolved for you?
It's completely changed. I had been misled. And one of the reasons I'm so passionate about carnivore is because of the healing that I found, but also just because I'm mad. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but type 2 diabetes. I have many family members with that. And when they're diagnosed with that, they're told, this is you. This is a fluke. This is your body. This is just the way it's genetics. We don't know, but here, take these pills. And when I was diagnosed with depression, I was told the same thing. I was told, this is you, Kerry. This is a chemical imbalance in your brain. Like I'm defective. It's almost like victim blaming. I'm not like looking for people to feel sorry for me, but I feel sorry for people now because it happens all the time where, hey, you're diagnosed with cancer, you're diagnosed with diabetes, you're diagnosed with anything. We don't know what it is. It's just a fluke, but coincidentally, here's some really expensive medication procedures, and it's the only thing we can do. It drives me absolutely nuts. I was on 15 medications. I'm on 0 medications right now. All of those, what I've realized is they don't treat the root cause of the problem, and they never talk about the root cause of the problem. The other thing I learned is I've interviewed so many doctors and experts for the documentary. We have 9 of them. Each of them are so fired up and passionate about their own specialty. Like Dr. Tony Hampton on type 2 diabetes. He's so passionate about it. And then I interviewed Dr. Ovadia, so passionate about heart disease. Interviewed Dr. Georgia Eid, amazing person, so passionate about mental health. But when you get to the root of each of their passions, it's the exact same thing. You fix your metabolic health. That's what they're all preaching. So it's like you fix this one thing because you have type 2 diabetes and you fix your mental health, you fix your heart health, you fix all of these other things. So it's so much more simpler than I would have thought. Like it's just, treat the root cause. It seems like it's something a kindergartner could wrap their brains around, but I'm not judging anyone because I never understood it. I was on so much medication and foolishly just kept believing I needed more and more of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our medical system isn't training doctors to look at the root cause. It's literally looking at symptoms and treating with medication. That's what they're trained to do. Naturopathic doctors look at root cause and things like that. But, I guess as just patients, you and I, we would think like, oh, well, let's get to the root cause. And that makes sense, but that's just not what the system is set up to do, unfortunately, which sucks because there's so many people left in the wreckage of that with poor metabolic health when really like nutrition is like 80%, if not more, 80 to 90% of your metabolic health is what you put in your mouth.
Absolutely. Yeah. I wonder what's going to happen with these doctors too, with the prevalence of AI right now. It's like, you don't even need AI to be a doctor now. You could just have a little chart like, oh, your cholesterol is this, go on a statin. It's like all doctors do now. It's gotta be horrible. Like you became a doctor to heal people and you're basically like, if this, give them this pill. If that, give them this pill. It's just like, and then they're not getting healthier. Yeah. I just can't imagine going down that road. And then you see someone like Dr. Barry, who's literally had thousands of people say, you saved my life. And he hasn't even met them in person. Like, I guarantee you, none of the doctors I saw that were giving me medication had someone come to them and say, you saved my life because you gave me that medication for my heartburn that I took for 15 years.
Yeah. I think that also is why there's such a large number of doctors that are completely burnt out.
Yeah.
Because they're not helping people and they know it. And they get depressed and anxious and feel horrible about it. Yeah. Dr. Barry was how we found Carnivore too. My husband found him and we started watching it. I thought he was a cult leader and that he was crazy. But I still watched the videos with Goran and that's what brought us to Carnivore too. So he's saved countless lives and hopefully we can follow in his footsteps and do the same. And I know, you definitely are. I'm definitely doing the same. And I think anybody out there that's listening to this or watching this, like Bill, he started a YouTube channel and just shared his journey. You can do the same thing. I mean, we have phones. All you have to do is just film yourself, put it out there and share your incredible stories of healing. And you don't even know what impact that's going to have. You might influence people to start carnivore or their own healing journey and save some lives too. It's much easier than you think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. That's been my biggest message is just share your story.
Yeah.
Bill has had so many people now saying, Bill, you saved me. Like, if you can do this in Alaska with all of those barriers and roadblocks, what's my excuse? I can do it too. And on the doctors, I just wanted to say real quick, that's one of the reasons I'm fired up about the documentary too, because it's mostly about individuals, but we have the 9 doctors and experts. But the goal with that is like, let's uplift and celebrate these good doctors that are actually treating the root cause of the problem so that we see more of that in the world and other doctors that are struggling maybe say like, maybe I should look at what these guys are doing. They're actually healing people and saving people's lives.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of doctors out there that have a few patients where, like with you, your heart failure gone. Maybe if your doctor had been like, wow, that's crazy, and started going down a rabbit hole, could also kind of wake up from the matrix and hopefully help people too. But there are some doctors waking up. I think it's going to be up to them and to change the medical establishment itself. The paradigm shift, the medical school training, the funding coming from big pharma and all of those things really need to change before we can really make any moves in our medical system.
We got to change the incentives. Got to change the incentives. They're all wrong.
And until then, if that ever happens, our health is in our own hands. We're the only people that care 100% about our own health. So you have to do the research and do it yourself, which sucks. But you know what? Then you have a hand in it. And when you start to feel better, you're like, wow, okay, I can do this. It's not as hard as you think to improve your metabolic health.
That's the big thing too. So many people say that, I don't know how you do this. And I get it, like wrapping my brain around and starting it was hard, but once you're doing it, it's the easiest thing in the world. Like, I don't have to think about what I'm eating. I'm full all the time. I feel great. I got excess energy. It's so easy, but I get it. It's one of those things where it's like, you got to just try it. I can't explain it to you. You got to just kind of do it.
Yeah. 100%. Before I started carnivore, I had such a block to it. But once I started and I felt better after I had keto flu, because I didn't have a smooth sailing start like you did. After I felt better, it's so simple. Like tonight when I get home, I'm going to have a ribeye. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to air fry it. It's going to take 10 minutes. Boom, done. No mess. I love it.
Looking for the ultimate kitchen game changer? Meet the Tasty Air Fryer. With a built-in temperature probe, you will never overcook your favorite meals again. Perfectly juicy meat every single time. Its clean digital display makes cooking a breeze. And with lots of easy-to-use presets, you can air fry, bake, roast, even dehydrate at the touch of a button. Plus, the ceramic-coated basket ensures easy cleanup and healthier cooking without sticking or scrubbing. As a busy twin mom, I need all the help I can get. And this air fryer makes cooking meat super convenient. From steaks to chicken, it's cooked perfectly every single time. They also just came out with some paper liners that fit the basket perfectly, making cleanup faster and easier than ever. You can use code Jenny30 to save $30 on your own Tasty air fryer. I've put the code and the link in the show notes. Upgrade your kitchen and make every meal effortless and delicious with Tasty air fryer.
So we've been talking about carnivore this whole time, but there's a big, I feel like there's a lot of content being put out right now about how everybody's quitting carnivore. So I wanted to talk to you about it a little bit. You're filming a video. I know. You're filming a video about it. I'm currently filming a video about it. So let's talk about it. What are your thoughts on this everyone is quitting carnivore thing?
It drives me nuts. There's something that goes on in the world where, I don't know, different types of bias or what, where we misinterpret things. So one or two people are modifying their carnivore diet, turns into someone's quitting the carnivore diet, turns into everybody's quitting carnivore diet, panic, clickbait, click, 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 click. It's crazy. The video that I was doing a little rant about this, thinking about it. I'm like, name 10 people that quit carnivore then. Because that's the perception people have. They see these videos and they're like, oh my goodness, I need to rethink what I'm doing because everyone's quitting. Name 5 people that are quitting carnivore. It's like you can't even name 5 or 10, like a couple people slightly modified things, and that turns into this big, huge thing. The other thing on the topic I just want to say is I get people all the time, Jenny, on the YouTube channel that'll comment and they'll say, tell me what you're eating. Tell me exactly what you're doing. And I always tell them, no. Like, I've fixed my metabolic health through a carnivore diet. What I'm eating now is different than what I ate when I first started carnivore. When I was 100 pounds heavier, I had to eat a lot less. I eat more now. But all of that aside, people put so much weight into what some other influencer's journey is doing and what they're eating at this time or how they're modifying their diet at this time. I love analogies, and I think about it like cars. Like, for example, Paul Saladino, a lot of people are like, oh, he added fruit. Like, if you think of Paul Saladino like a car, the guy's like a Ferrari. Like, he's in the sun. He's metabolically healthy. I don't know his whole story, but I don't think he was 100 pounds overweight like I was and depressed and on 15 medications. I don't know that he was ever addicted to food like I was. So his choice to add fruit in is a lot different than my choice is going to be. If I add fruit in, I'll probably like go back and binge and be different. But it's almost like, when I started carnivore, I'm like a dump truck with a broken engine and I need an oil change. And Paul Saladino is a Ferrari driving by. And I'm like, why am I trying to eat like Paul Saladino? Like it's a different, completely different thing. We shouldn't compare. Like, we can get inspired by other people's stories, but the inspiration should be, that person fixed their metabolic health. What do I need to do to fix my metabolic health? Here's some tips and tricks to do it. But to try to like follow strictly someone that is maybe a different gender, a different age, different hormones, different part of the journey that they're on. It's so foolish to try to compare those things and then change your dietary behaviors based on what someone else is doing. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Well, and I think the big thing is like, oh, carnivore's not working. Well, it's not that carnivore's not working. It's just a natural evolution to something different. When you are healed, and a lot of the people that I think are reintroducing some carbs are thin, fit, have been doing it for a really long time, and they're just trying something different based on a couple of blood work markers or just how they feel or things like that. I think that's exactly what you should do if you want to reintroduce carbs. You pick and choose and then reintroduce one at a time. Try it out, see for at least 3 days, see how you feel, if you have any reactions, and if you don't, and you're able to moderate that food, amazing. That's great. I don't think any of us are saying like nobody can ever eat an apple ever again. You know what I mean? Like I celebrate when people are able to reintroduce carbs. I think most people come to carnivore because they're desperate and they want healing, weight loss, some kind of metabolic health improvement. And if you're able to get there, which most people are, then you can start to reintroduce whole, real food again. You can't go back to Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Snickers because that's going to be a disaster. But, fruit, vegetables, maybe a little bit of dairy and things like that. I don't think we should demonize those things. It just doesn't work for some people. Some people can.
Right.
It doesn't mean that everyone's quitting carnivore. You know,
Yeah.
it served its purpose and they're moving on.
Right. And the thing is, it's like, the tricky part of it for me is new people starting carnivore sometimes will see someone like Paul Saladino and be like, oh, I'm going to go do that. And it's like, that's where you got to be careful. That's where it gets tricky. But part of that's on the individual as well. But if you are really sick and you need to heal your metabolic health, you don't need to be doing what Paul Saladino is doing after he was already healed before he even started eating a meat-based diet, and now he's even more healed. So comparing to that, it's just crazy. The other thing I was going to say real quick that just blows my mind is, your book is awesome, by the way. I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
It's incredible. It's so good. I'm so excited about it because I get a lot of people on my YouTube channel and they have so many questions, and that's a frustrating thing with YouTube, trying to answer in a comment, and you can't do it. But to have a resource like that, it's incredible. So I highly recommend it. We're working on a book. It's totally different than yours. We're just working on a book of testimonies of healing, because everyone's like, you're just an anecdote. And I'm like, okay, well, here's 25,000 anecdotes then for you in different health categories. We're not going to quite do 25,000 because it'll be too thick, but we're going to do a whole book of stories of people healing. And I've been working on this for like 2 weeks. So when the whole everyone's quitting carnivore thing and it's like 2 people slightly modified, and then I'm like, I literally have gone through tens of thousands of testimonies of people thriving on carnivore that aren't quitting carnivore. They're healing and they're doing incredible. And then you hear like 2 people modify. Everyone quit. It's crazy. Yeah. It's nuts. It's so weird how the internet works that way. And that's the tricky thing too, because quit carnivore gets a lot of clicks from both sides. People that are scared to start carnivore, and then people that are against carnivore, like, oh, look, see, it doesn't work because one person changed something.
This kind of reminds me of when the sugar diet gained a bunch of traction this summer. Like everybody was like, ooh, I want to try the sugar diet, you know? And that's gone now. So
yeah, whatever. That was like huge for so long. Just completely off the radar.
It was huge for like a month or 2. I did an 8-day sugar diet experiment. I gained 5 pounds, almost 6 pounds. And then it sent me off on a carb spiral for a couple of weeks. And I got back up to like 170 pounds, which I haven't been since the first year of carnivore. But yeah, I think it's just because it's silly. That's why it's gone.
Right. My biggest takeaway with all this is just encouraging people, do you. Like back to the car analogy, you know your vehicle better than anyone. You know all the intricacies, the different engine sounds, you know it better than anyone. So to try to like look at Paul Saladino's car and then change the maintenance on yours because of it doesn't make any sense. Just listen to your body. You know it better than anybody. Do your own tests.
Exactly. Yeah. Excuse me. And a lot of the people that are watching these videos are beginners. So I think that's a really great point that you made. Like if you are 100 pounds overweight, you have type 2 diabetes, and you can barely walk because of arthritis, like you can't eat a ton of fruit. You just can't right now. Does that mean that someday if you get to your baseline weight, your type 2 diabetes has resolved itself and you no longer have arthritis, that you might, be able to introduce it? Sure. But that's going to be years down the road. So don't take somebody, that's been a 16 year carnivore that is now having a little bit of fruit or a little bit of honey or something like that. They're on a completely different journey than you. They have healed. You need to focus on your own health first and make adjustments as needed. But I think, just strict carnivore for at least 90 days is a really, really good place to start.
Absolutely. And the other part of it too is just the addiction part. I think a lot of people don't talk about that. And I feel like that is a problem for the majority of people that struggle with their weight and they yo-yo for years and years. That's what I did on keto. I was just moderating my addiction. Oh, I could have a little bit of carbs here, a little bit. It's just like an alcoholic, like, I'll just have a beer every Saturday. Like it never works out kind of thing. So I'm always cautious about recommending that for people too. But on the flip side, I always tell people, don't commit to carnivore like lifelong either, because you're never going to wrap your brain around it. You'll end up failing also. So 90 days is a great way to get started. And it goes by so quick. That's the other thing. It seems so long. 90 days, when you're done and through it, it's like a blink of an eye in the grand scheme of things. It goes by really quickly.
Oh, I know. I can't even believe that we're almost at 3 years.
Yeah, it's nuts.
How did this happen? I like your point about addiction, food addiction, because I for a very long time didn't think I had food addiction issues, but when I tried to reintroduce carbs earlier this year, because I did too, I tried with salads. Salads I can moderate just fine. I love a good salad. I'll eat a salad once a month. We've always done a keto cheat meal once a month since the beginning of carnivore. But the fruit, specifically mangoes, frozen organic mangoes from Costco. We get those for the boys, and our nanny makes popsicles with them for them. I was finding myself eating like 3 bowls of frozen mangoes right before bed. I cannot moderate them.
Yeah.
So we can't have that in the house. And I then realized, oh wait, that's food addiction. And I know that about myself now. I don't think I'll ever be able to have frozen mangoes in the house anymore. And that's okay. Now I know. But that is something to keep in mind. So if you have a hard time staying away from something sugary, even if it's just fruit, that's a food addiction issue. Yeah. So with all of my carnivores, I always finish with rapid fire carnivore questions. Are you down?
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
Yes. Okay. So what is your number one tip for a new carnivore?
One tip for a new carnivore. Have your why and write it down and keep a log for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever you're doing carnivore. You got to be intentional, and it's more powerful if you write it down than just say, I'm going to do it.
Great. What is your favorite carnivore food?
Oh, ribeye, but lately chuck roast.
Nice. How do you cook it?
Smoked. I like to smoke the ribeye and then slow smoke it and then sear it on a cast iron skillet.
That sounds fantastic. Okay, so for the next question, it doesn't have to necessarily be like carnivore answers, but they can be if you want. If you were stuck on a desert island, what 3 things would you bring?
Grill, a cow, a butcher knife. No, 3 things on a desert island. Yeah, that would be it. Water and meat and fire.
There you go. What is the most common mistake that new carnivores make?
The most common mistake new carnivores make is they don't do carnivore strictly for the first 30, 60, or 90 days. They will keep some things in, or they'll say, I did good for 5 days. Now I'm going to have some cake, or I'm going to have some pie, or I'm going to have some berries. And then they end up struggling and suffering because they're perpetuating that sugar addiction. They get to day like 85 and they're like, oh my goodness, I got these intense cravings sort of things. So I always encourage people, like you said, you can add things back in later, but if you're going to do it 100% for 30, 60, 90 days. You'll feel so much better.
Yeah. I've found that if you do it for 6 days and then you have cake on the weekend, you can have inflammation for a couple of weeks after that. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot if you do that. You really do need to give it a fair shot and be really strict with it.
You could end up back with the keto flu. But the other thing I learned that blew my mind was you can mess up your gut bacteria for a very long time. Like it'll flourish on that sugar, which all of it died off if you're doing carnivore right for a while. And so I always think about that in the back of my head too.
That's a great point. I've encountered a weight loss stall on carnivore. What would be your advice to get the scale moving again?
Drop the cheese and the dairy. That is often the biggest culprit. And the second to that, if you've already done that, is just switch things up. As you mentioned earlier, Jenny, doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity, expecting a different result. A lot of people do that on carnivore. So if you're doing carnivore, maybe try Lion Diet. And it doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment. Maybe I'm going to try Lion Diet for 3 days. If you're doing Lion Diet, maybe you're just going to fast or intermittent fast. Just switch it up because you get in these routines and your body gets kind of stuck in those ways. But if you do a big switch up like that, it usually comes off. But cheese and dairy is a big one.
Yeah, definitely. Knowing what you know now, what would you do differently, if anything, if you were starting carnivore today?
I would have got an air fryer sooner.
Same.
Dante Ferrigno, the man that taught me about carnivore, he famously cooks steaks from frozen in his air fryer. I was watching him all along and I'm like, I'm not putting my steak in an air fryer. That's going to ruin it. And then I finally relented and did it. It's incredible. It's so simple. You can cook it from frozen. I'm here in Wisconsin where it's freezing. So yeah, the air fryer is like, as if we don't save enough time on carnivore as it is. And then you add the air fryer on top of it. Bacon, meatballs, we use it all the time. So air fryer day one.
Yeah, totally. I'm in the Chicagoland area, so I empathize with you on the cold. Once it's like October, there's no more grilling. We go inside and we use the air fryer. Okay, final question. If you were able to go back and give one piece of advice to 20-year-old you, what would that be?
That's such a good question because I'm such a bullhead. I don't know if I would have listened to myself, but it would have been fix your metabolic health. Everything you're sick about is related to your nutrition. I'm so bullheaded though, I probably wouldn't have listened, but yeah, that would have been it.
Yeah, well, you could have tried.
Right.
And maybe,
At least I tried.
yeah, maybe 20-year-old you would look at, how old are you, 40?
45.
Okay, 45-year-old you and say, he looks really good, healthy. Maybe I should be like that.
Right.
So who knows?
I would have at least liked to have it. Oh, you know what I would have said? I would have said, every single issue that you have medication for is 100% from your nutrition. Because when I got into the horrible depression that I suffered from years, I would have given anything for another tool in the toolbox. It would have been like, I just got to eat meat for a couple of weeks. I'll give that a try. I'll try anything. So that's probably what it would have been.
Yeah, when you're so desperate, like eating meat, you're like, okay, I've thrown everything else at the wall. Let's try that. And
Right.
that's the one that works. That's amazing. Well, Kerry, this was awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And we'll have to do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's an honor. I love what you're doing. I love the book. I'm going to continue shouting it out. It's amazing. And thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you everybody out there for listening to or watching Meat Matters with Jenny Mitich.